It's B Jack. Hey, you know that he back. Jackie Tarantino, Rampage Pitch. Look, I got money on my mind. That's all.
What up, world? It's your boy B Jack, and I'm back on B Jack TV with the album review show Spit Lit or That Ain't It, where we break down these albums based upon if these artists can spit, meaning they got bars and lyricism, if the album is lit, meaning it's something you can turn up to and party to, or if that ain't it, if the album is straight trash. All right, now before I get into today's episode, y'all make sure y'all smash that like on this video, hit that bell, and subscribe to B Jack TV for more album reviews and hip hop news. All right, now today is actually part 2 of the video that I dropped yesterday with the Jeremiah and Tory Lanez albums. Excuse me, Jeremiah Ty Dolla $ign, My Ty album, and then the Tory Lanez album, Love Me Now, which I cut short. And I figured I'd do a whole separate video for these two albums today because these albums are very different than the two albums that I reviewed yesterday, okay? These two albums are very underground hip-hop as opposed to mainstream hip-hop, all right? So album number 1 we're reviewing today is, excuse me, the Black Eyed Peas, Masters of the Sun, Volume 1. Noticeably off rip, what y'all gonna notice about this album, this is not a electro dance pop album from the Black Eyed Peas, all right? They went back to their roots, their beginning of being a hip hop, a traditional underground backpack boom bap style of hip hop where it's more sample laced and jazz driven music as opposed to the electro dance pop songs that they're known for and that they took over the charts for 8 years and some change ago. All right, now that aside, there's no Fergie on this album, okay? 3. And I'm going to paraphrase will.i.am's verse on Constant Part 2, where he says, it's the trio, one amigo, Filipino, and a Negro, all right? These guys have came back to the game after a long hiatus, 8 years, since their last album, The Beginning, which blew up and took over mad charts and just dominated, you know, the charts when it came out. This album is very socially and politically driven as far as the lyrics go and the direction, and the production is very soulful, jazz, boom bap style of production, all from will.i.am. You know, I love will.i.am's production because he stays traditional as far as, you know, what he wants to do. He likes to have one sound for the whole album. Okay, this album is no different. And like I said, this album I've been playing a lot more so than a lot of other albums that just came out. I don't know if it's just the instrument. It's not just the instrumentation. It's also the lyrics because they actually have something to say. So I'm going to just get into the hype surrounding this album. This album was released, before they released this album earlier this year, they released an AR graphic novel of the same name, Masters of the Sun, Volume 1. And there is very technical things going along with this comic book that they put out where you could use your phone or iPad and stuff is digitally popping out and actually playing in front of you as opposed to just reading a graphic novel. Very innovative idea for will.i.am to do. Go check out his Noisy episode where they show that in depth. Pretty dope. will.i.am is a genius. I'm gonna just say that. But again, the hype surrounding this, they did release 3 singles for this album. The first being Ring the Alarm Part 1, 2, and 3. Dopeness featuring K-pop super star CL. And then Big Love. Big Love reminds you of Where Is the Love, but in its own way. All right, now this album features Nas. Nasty Nas is on the first song, Back to Hip Hop, and also features Estero, Slick Rick, the late Phife Dawg, and Ali Shaheed of A Tribe Called Quest. All right, y'all need to check this album out because this is one of those albums where, much like J. Cole's KOD album, it's an album that you need to hear, but it's not a trap sound leaning album like KOD was. KOD was one of those hide the medicine in the candy type albums where he hid his message, or he played off of the trap sounds and kind of mimicked how the trap rappers would do their hooks, where it's like a one line and you repeat it throughout the whole joint, you know, on songs like Motivate, you know. And this album, though, is just from front to back, is very politically, socially driven, and it makes you want to listen to it with the production. Like some of these albums that come out like that, they have very underground beats that, while they're dope, they are just kind of sad, you know, kind of somber mood. But this album is, you could party to it, you could dance to it. It's for the hip hop culture right here. This Black Eyed Peas, Masters of the Sun, Volume 1 is a very dope album. I'm gonna just get into my picks. My pick number 1 would be Yes or No. I love that joint because, you know, it's asking a question. You either this way or you're that way, you know, and it's sort of like asking you to ask yourself, who are you? You know, who do you identify with? Are you leaning towards the left? Are you leaning towards the right as far as politics and things go? And then number 2 pick is Constant, Part 1 and 2 featuring Slick Rick. Man, I'm going to just say that beat is so dope from the first one to the second one because it switches up. I really like the second part, and that's where I got that line. It's the trio, one amigo, Filipino, and a Negro. They play off the fact that, you know, they're a very different group as far as ethnicities and things go because, you know, again, one is Mexican, I believe, one is Filipino, and will.i.am is black, and then Fergie was white, you know, but Fergie ain't on this album. Although Fergie ain't on this album, I will say that it seems like they miss her because the female vocalists that are featured on this album tend to almost mimic or sound similar to how Fergie would sing some of these records. Overall, though, I have to say this is a dope album. All right, my number 3 pick is All Around the World featuring the late great Phife Dawg, rest in peace, and Ali Shaheed of A Tribe Called Quest, plus Posthumous of De La Soul. Y'all need to check out them joints. Check out this whole album if y'all like that boom bap hip hop underground album type feel, because this is one of the dopest albums I've heard this year. Sonically cohesive, it sticks together. Production and lyric wise, it's hard to do that. I've been saying that recently. And my overall opinion is I love the social, political direction of the lyrics and the soulful jazz, boom bap style of production. He blends in a lot of vocal samples right at the right time, you know, to say what he needs it to say. And I also like how the beats switch up on songs like Constant Part 1 and 2, Vibrations, and Ring the Alarm. Okay, very dope, needed change from all of the popular trap sounding records of today. All right, y'all check out that Black Eyed Peas, Masters of the Sun, Volume 1, out now. All right, now let's get into my number 2 pick. And I've been listening to this album for the past few days as well. This album came out the same day as all these other albums that I'm talking about. They all came out Friday, October 16th. All right, this album comes from Joel Ortiz, all right, one of the members of the super group Slaughterhouse, and it features complete production by Apollo Brown, Mona Lisa. All right, this album features Royce da 5'9" and DJ Los. Only 2 features on this whole album. I think it's 11 songs. I'm gonna just get into the hype. There has been some hype spreading around this album because Joel Ortiz and Apollo Brown both have been talking about how this album was coming out. I think the album artwork leaked a little early, and although there was no singles or videos before this album came out, a lot of people knew about it, you know, on the underground circuit. So I'm gonna just get into my picks for this album. Number 1 would be My Block, you know. Number 2 would be Grace of God. And number 3, Timberland Up featuring Royce da 5'9". Any song with Royce da 5'9" on it, I'm going to pick as one of my top picks because Royce da 5'9" is one of them MCs who always steals the show, and he does the same here on Timberland Up, where this song features Nas, apart from Nas, on Made You Look off the Godson album. Y'all go check that out for reference. But this album is very dope. And while I say it's dope, let me just get into my opinion. Okay. While I love the style of the underground boom bap sample driven production from Apollo Brown, who's a producer out of Detroit, who's worked with Planet Asia, Sky Zoo, and a lot of others, I felt there was no true bangers. None of those hardcore hip hop, just undeniable head nodding joints on this album. Still a solid set though. I would just say that if they have at least one or two of those just undeniable, oh yeah, you know, I think this album would have been a lot better. Although the production is perfect for Joell Ortiz's storytelling, which is very, very complex and compelling in the fact that he uses metaphors and punchlines in telling a story, which is very hard to do for, you know, a lot of people in general. But I believe this album is a dope album. Not as replay worthy as the Black Eyed Peas album, honestly, in my honest opinion. Maybe more so for his lyricism than the production. But again, the production on this sounds very somber. Like I was saying in the beginning of this video where a lot of the underground boom bap hip hop artists tend to choose beats that are more somber in mood and more like chill, as opposed to, you know, an up-tempo party banger. And I'm not saying that you necessarily need a party banger, but there are songs in hip hop history where, you know, like an Ante Up that just make you want to, you know, it's undeniable head nod. And it makes you feel hype, you know, and you don't need to party. You can't really party the Ante Up, but it's one of them joints, you know, where you're going to be hype every time you hear that beat. So missing from this album, but again, this is a very deep, dope lyrical album. He talks about a lot of personal stuff on this album. So if you are a fan of Joell Ortiz, I'm going to say check out that Mona Lisa by Joell Ortiz and Apollo Brown out now. I had to do a part 2 for y'all because I really wanted to break down these two albums on a platform, or at least on a separate video than the popular sounding records, so that my true hip hop heads will know there is real hip hop out there still today, living well. Hip hop ain't dead, you know, it's underground again. So we come full circle to where hip hop, the real hip hop, started underground and the pop stuff was in the forefront. Hip hop and rap in general is the #1 genre of music out there, but y'all got to remember, a lot of the stuff that's the most popular ain't really the best lyrically. You know, there's a lot of party joints and shit that's out there that's dope as fuck, don't get me wrong. And groups like the Migos, while they perform well on, you know, the charts and radio and shit, it's not for everybody's ears when you're sitting at home and you want to do certain shit. It's all turn up lit music, you know. With these albums, these are something that you can listen to. I'll say Mona Lisa is a rainy day album. And today is raining. Well, as I'm recording this, it's raining on Sunday. But so I would say this album is more for a rainy day. You cleaning up your house type of vibe. But the Black Eyed Peas album, you can listen to that in the car. You can listen to that at home, wherever. That album is dope. All right, so y'all check out these two albums, Masters of the Sun, Volume 1 by the Black Eyed Peas, and Mona Lisa by Joell Ortiz and Apollo Brown out now. All right, now before I get out of here, make sure y'all hit that like if you haven't. Smash that bell and subscribe to BJack TV. All right, Spit Lit or That Ain't It, the album review show for you. Peace.
It's BJack. Hell, you know that he back. Jackie Tarantino, Wham Paint Pics. Look, I got money on my mind.